Hey everyone, and welcome back to Tales from the Table Studios. We've got an awesome game coming to you today, but before we get to that, we're going to talk a little bit about why we're all here. Uh, every game that we're running, every event that you've seen, everything that's coming ahead of us is raising money for the National Network of Abortion Funds. Any amount of money that you donate from $1 to 100 or more will go in totality towards logistics, travel, medical expenses, temporary housing, and more help people maintain their bodily autonomy. Unfortunately, right now, we're in the middle of a war in this country, fighting back against people who have decided not everyone deserves to have that right. And we're not cool with that. So we're doing what we can to try and take a stand and help out. Also, any amount of money that you donate during these amazing episodes of Terror at Bone Gulch will enter you into an exciting giveaway for a number of things straight from Steve Jackson Games. A couple of interesting core books, dice bags. What's to not get excited for, right? Definitely check that out. Also, we have a Discord now. Come hang out in our Discord. The link's down below. You can also find it over on my Twitter at the Lion Knight 42, where you can come interact with all these amazing people, both on this show and all our other ones. If you want to ask about why something was done, get some insight into running games or being a player on APs, you can do all that there because there's a fantastic community more than ready to welcome you and help give you that advice and that insight. Also, it's the best place to go to keep up to date with what we're doing here and to potentially get cast for our shows in the future. So that's really exciting. With that said, we've got a really awesome tomorrow we're going to have DTA at our normal. No, I'm lying. Wow. Not lying, but I'm wrong. Instead of DTA, we're going to have Just a Normal Human, an amazing game from Rev of Thought Police, which sees the players taking on the kind of classic three goblins in a trench coat, where you're just a horde of something that has pretended to be a human and is going out into the world doing human things. It's going to be a really good time. Definitely check that out. Then on Wednesday, we'll be back at 3 with Rega, Tomb of Sorrows, which is going to be another great game. The party has just finished gearing up and are getting ready to head towards the aptly named Tomb of Sorrows. And whew, things are going to get rough. Definitely show up, donate, make it harder, make it easier. You can do that for that. You can also do that for this game, which you'll see later because someone did donate and there will be a Bane. That's very exciting. Yes, then we'll be back on Thursday with episode 3 of Avatar, The Breaking Point. And on Friday, we will be back with part 2 of our 2-part event, Veil of the Void, The Dead Planet. That's going to be at 5. All the times are EST. Please come check it out. Tell your friends, watch, hang out. We love to see you in chat, donate. And with that, I think I've taken up plenty of time. So I'm going to pass things over to our amazing casting crew. Enjoy this episode of Terror at Bone Gulch.
Welcome back, everyone, to a tiny town in the Arizona desert, near to the Painted Desert, near to the Petrified Forest, near to a meteorite crater, near to a cave where a couple hundred Apache were smoked to death. But most importantly, from the perspective of our 4 stalwart adventurers, close to a gulch full of bones, thus the name of the town, Bone Gulch. And on the edge of that gulch, a brand new, finely built mansion in a slightly older Georgian style. But our story is going to open up with them at the little quaint little clapboard house right near Main Street of town that Miss Eloise owns. But before we get to that, I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I will start with the Eye.
The Eye is playing Jacob McCallister, a rootin' tootin' cowboy from somewhere. hasn't come up yet, but maybe it'll come up eventually. Yeah, just hanging out with these fine folks who are making him go absolutely bonkers. And that's where I'll leave it.
Very good. Christopher.
I am Christopher Rice. I am playing Isaiah, a rambler, but not a gambler. Quick to shoot, and has a pathological desire to protect those around him that are important to him. It's going to get him killed.
But it also shows that he's basically a good person, whether he believes it or not. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Justina.
Yes, I'm Justina, and I'm playing Eloise Collier, the schoolmarm with a dark secret.
What sort of secret may it be? Perhaps I don't even know. Stefan.
Hi, I'm Stefan Huddleston, and I am playing Samuel Fawcett, the former Buffalo soldier and gun for hire.
All righty then. I am Jack Kellum, at Jack Gogsbane on Twitter. I will be playing your game master and storyteller for the evening as I guide them through what I hope will be a titillating and terrifying tale of terror at Bone Gulch. As I said, we return to Miss Eloise's quaint little clapboard house, where she was just getting ready to head out to church, as I recall. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All righty. While Miss Eloise is heading out to church, what are the three fellas planning to do?
I'm going to go to church too.
Don't seem too unreasonable, all things considered.
I'm just going to sit quietly in the back.
Mr. McCallister is actually going to approach the Dixie before he goes
Mm-hmm.
and say, well, before you head off to do your praying, I was wondering if you knew someone we could speak to about getting some munitions of a more explosive sort.
Mines will probably have what you're looking for.
Do you know anyone there I can speak to, or would this be more of a run and grab sort of thing?
I'm just going to make a quick area knowledge roll.
Very good.
Success by 4.
Oh, yeah, no, there's at least one mine foreman who is as irritated at the bosses as everybody else and is more than willing to make a little money on the side by selling items that should not, in fact, be for sale to the general public.
I give McCallister my last $100 bill and give him a name.
Whew, that's big money.
Buy as much of it as you can.
All right. Well, I don't know if anyone is going to want to join me on this endeavor, especially someone who's probably a little bit more known in these parts. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, Stefan.
Yeah, I guess I was just about to say, I guess Sam will tag along and hopefully somebody's foot doesn't get blown off.
I mean, you know, folks can hope, right?
So
Well,
I
that's
guess,
really likely if somebody makes a critical failure. And that's never going to happen, right?
yeah,
Oh, right. Yeah. No worries.
so that's where Mr. McCallister and Samuel are headed.
Excellent. Where? Okay, so we got 2 folks headed to the church and 2 folks headed to the mine. The mine is a little bit further out, so we will start with the church contingent. Head on over there. It's a relatively small church, unassuming, pretty much your standard Southwest mission style for Catholic churches in the region. Adobe built, probably, as Miss Eloise would be aware, the padre is in fact padre, a priest of Hispanic persuasion. It being the middle of the day and not a Sunday or a Wednesday, there ain't a whole lot of people there. So you make your way up through the pews. There's one older lady sitting back at the very back of the pews, quiet like. Father is moving around in his robes, with his fairly plain black robes with his clerical collar. He's relatively young for a priest, probably late 30s. And he's just puttering about up at the altar, making sure everything's set proper and cleaning and that sort of thing. Is he, although there are many rich folks in this town, not too many of them donate too much to the church, so it ain't like he can afford to pay people to clean for him. You head on in and up. I heard you go into the church, but what you gonna do while you're there?
Well, Eloise will go in, she'll genuflect, and then approach the padre and ask if she can take the sacrament of confession.
Very good. For those who might not be familiar with the word genuflect, in this case, it would mean to take one knee and make the sign of the cross when looking at the cross ahead of her. As you've seen in many movies, but probably not heard described. Now, very good. You move over to the padre and he says, yes, of course. I would be more than glad to take your confession, Miss Eloise. If you would, before, sir, is there something I can help you with quickly? He says to Isaiah.
I don't need no middleman to talk to God.
Very reasonable.
Go and sit in the back row.
Very
Pat
good.
in my hand respectfully, but
Mhm.
I don't obviously want to talk to the dude.
Fair enough. All right, so he escorts you into the confession booth, where, of course, you must begin the ritual.
All right, so Eloise says, forgive me, Father, I have sinned. It has been 6 weeks since my last confession.
And that is a very long time. Please, I understand. Life can be difficult. You still have come far more often than many. Tell me.
All right, so Eloise is going to confess her minor sins. I'm going to say she has confessed her secret to the Father, because the seal of confession.
Absolutely.
If
And he has completely respected it. No one has any clue.
so, I am then going to ask the Father, an evil presence has come to our town and I am frightened.
What sort of evil presence are we speaking of?
It's something that they called a vampire.
You, of course, cannot see his face.
Right.
What with the screen in the booth, but you hear him go quiet. And then he says, and do you have evidence of this?
A creature attacked me outside of my house the other night. I drove it away with my rosary.
Well, that indicates that your faith is strong, at least.
I was wondering if there was any help you could give myself and the gentleman that I have boarded at my home some help against this threat. Do you know of anything?
I have not encountered such things myself, but I have spoken to members of the clergy who have, and to parishioners of mine who have. Do you know if this individual are they native or European?
European.
That changes the matter quite a bit. There are many more things we have available that may be of help. Many of the native creatures are harder to pin down. I can give you a small amount of holy water. Contrary to what
appreciate it.
people think, holy water is not simply water that has been blessed. It also has a special formulation. So I do not have so much to give.
I understand.
And I can give you my blessing for what that will be worth.
Please, your blessing is appreciated and desired.
Given the minor nature of the sins you have confessed, I believe you are already engaged in activities that would count far more penance than you need. Nonetheless, I believe it will also be helpful to you to say as many Hail Marys and Our Fathers as you possibly can.
Yes, Padre, I will.
And he finishes up the ritual. You guys step out, and he heads straight over to the font and gathers holy water in a number of small silvered steel flasks. How many of you are there, Miss Eloise?
There are 4 of us.
Excellent. He fills 4 flasks and says, you have, of course, my blessing. May the blessing of God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be upon you. In nomine Patre, in nomine Filii, in nomine Spiritus Sancti. Amen. You feel a feeling of peace and safety wash over you. It's pretty momentary, though.
Eloise is now.
Isaiah, you feel no such thing.
That's because I'm currently in a pissing match with God right now.
Right? Alrighty.
I grumble off, and if you don't want to help me, then to hell with you.
Meanwhile, the other 2 fellas are just now reaching the mine, which still ain't too far out. I mean, there's a reason they put the town where they put it, and it weren't because it was a real nice spot. So you mosey on up to the mine, and there's plenty of folks working. Bright daylight like it is, they ain't gonna waste it. Folks heading in and out of the mine, forming off to the side. Matches the description that Isaiah gave you.
Daniel, I got a question before we get down to business. This is all new to me, as I'm sure you're aware. Not used to this sort of stuff. But you're looking at it an awful lot different than Miss Eloise, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How much proof of that you got that your stuff works or that hers works?
Well, I guess all I can say is that my grandmammy said that it's more about you than it is about necessarily what you believe. It's whether or not you believe in.
My grandpappy and grandma, they came across from Ireland. They would weave tales of fey folk and changelings and whatnot. They were good Christian folk, to be sure, but my understanding, that ain't something Jesus really talked about much.
No.
More I get into this sort of thing, the more I wonder if some of those tales were true or not.
May could be. I mean, thing is that I think there's lots of things in the corners of the world that people don't see all the time, but they're still there. Some of them are older than others. Some of them are tales, but some of them sure is real. And I think, I think we kind of get lulled into things, but where I come through and what I was brought up with, we kind of took a little bit of things from things here and things from back where traditions that was brought over from where my great grandmammy came from, and we kind of smushed them all together and made something different. I think maybe there's just a little bit of truth to all of them stories. The problem is figuring out how much truth.
About that time, Mr. McCallister, I need you to make an observation roll.
The 9.
That's well under. Walking into the mine just behind one of the miners, you could swear there's a fella maybe 3 feet tall, kind of skinny like, with a kind of conical cap with the top bent over a little. And all he's wearing is a work belt and a protective apron. He ain't wearing any other clothes, and he's got a pickaxe in his hand, scaled down to his size. And then you just see that for a split second, and then it's gone.
McCallister just kind of stops and stares at that spot. I'm going to make a roll myself. Samuel.
Yep.
I think after we're done with this, you and I are going to have a long talk.
Yep.
About that time, another split second, thing turns around. You see it again. It turns around, sticks its head around the corner that it just went around, and kind of bares big old teeth at you, and kind of hisses and sticks its tongue out like it was offended at something. Then it disappears again.
Are there other people around that I'm seeing with this thing, or is
you're seeing plenty of people. They're ignoring it. They don't seem to see it.
Well, I don't have any of a cult or anything like that, so I'm not going to even try to roll to see if I even know what the heck this thing is. But Jake could probably just throw it up as some sort of faith focus of some sort,
Mhm.
and then just shake his head and keep walking.
All right. So you make it over to the foreman, sees two fellas with iron on their hips striding up and kind of waves everybody else away. Yeah. Can I help you?
Well, my name is Mr. McCallister. I'm sure. No, I don't know. Do you know this fella, Samuel?
That's a good question. Do I know him?
Oh, go ahead and roll
Let me roll here.
And the better question is, if he hates the overseers, does he know who I am?
I got a 7. I have area knowledge southwest, so I assume if we step that down for being local.
Right. What's your total? What's your
11 for southwest.
I'd say that's enough for just barely knowing who this fella is. You've met him once or twice. Yeah, I had already rolled on your reputation to see if he recognized you. So when you say McCallister, he raises an eyebrow and says, "Really? Don't that just beat all? What can I do for you, Mr. McCallister?"
Well, we
Hey, Samuel.
doing some business around here, and Isaiah told me that you're the kind of person to talk to about such things.
So he looks to the left, looks to the right, makes sure none of the boys are too close, and goes, "All right, what kind of business are we talking?"
Yeah, sort of thing that requires a couple of sticks that you light on fire, if you catch my meaning.
Only a couple, so you ain't like
A couple is a downplay. Yeah, I would probably more than that. A good box probably do it.
all right. So we're talking about maybe blowing up train tracks or something like that.
Is there some way I can read this guy to see how much he's okay with this sort of thing?
You can try. You're not particularly trained in doing so unless you have body language or detect lies or psychology or one of those, but you do have, some observation. You might be able to get a general idea, but it's not going to be super accurate.
Gotcha.
I have detect lies, so I'm going to try.
Oh, wait. Oh, there is one thing that might help.
Yeah.
For this specific thing, because it's a criminal activity. Your streetwise will actually be more helpful than your observation.
Gotcha. So I got a 10 out of 13.
Well, he seems to be doing all the things you'd expect from somebody who actually sells explosives on the black market. He was cautious like and actually seemed to be worried about getting overheard, etc.
Train tracks ain't really what we're going after.
Well, I don't really need to know. It's fine. Say about a box.
Yeah. What comes in a box? About 50? 25?
Something like that. Something like that. I'd say that'll probably cost you a full $100.
1,200, you said?
I said full 100.
400. I apologize.
Full.
Oh, full 100. I'm so sorry. My kind of catch this dialect gets to me sometimes. It's fine. Yeah, we actually got that. And Mr. McCallister will hand over the crisp, clean $100 bill that his friend Dixie gave him.
All right. So he goes and he brings you over a box and meets you around the corner where nobody's looking and hands over the box of dynamite with its caps and its fuses. And says, be mighty careful, transporting it. You know how to use it, right?
I do indeed.
Good, good. Thought you might. I heard about what happened to that bank.
Only the banks that only the rich can use.
But that's most of them. And the rest of us ain't got no money to put in there.
That's very true.
All right. Well, you keep on fighting the good fight. Samuel, carry on, sir.
Tip my hat and load up, get ready to head out.
And we get back home.
Now, I will tell you a full box of dynamite is pretty heavy.
Yeah, we probably both have to lift it out.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
So y'all gonna take a good bit of time toting that thing back to the
Yeah.
house.
yes.
And if you
I
want to
figure we
take
take I figure we take the horses. Is there a way I can, like, for lack of a better term, because I don't know, hog tie this thing to the back of my horse?
Can we get in a town like this, can we get like a buckboard real quick or something that we can borrow or
That'll
rent?
work.
you can absolutely get a buckboard. You can actually absolutely get a small wagon.
Yep. We'll do that.
And it given again the level of money that you haven't spent on having a house and et cetera, Samuel, you can just buy it outright. People don't.
Yeah, true enough. Yeah, I'll just do that. Might
People
come
don't
in
rent
handy.
things out here because they know they ain't getting it back.
True. Might come in handy. So yeah, I'll just do that.
Yep. Do you have a Teamster on your sheet?
I don't think I do.
Riding -3.
I
Yep.
do have riding though, so I'm
Yep.
fairly proficient rider. So
That means you should be okay.
okay.
Especially since, again, as long as you're not under pressure, you don't have to roll, and if some roll does come up, you generally have the +4 bonus.
Yep, that works.
It's just trying to drive the team. If you happen to get into a chase, would
Yeah,
end up
be a little
being
different. Yeah, that'll work.
All right, so you get the buckboard, you bring it out there, you load up the fireworks, shall we
Yeah.
call them,
Yep.
and you're headed back to town. And in that short bit of time, things take a slight turn for the worse.
Uh-oh.
As I need both of you to make an observation check real quick like.
All righty.
It's a 10 again.
All right.
I got an 8.
All
Got
right.
him
Well,
with a 12, so 4 under.
both of you observe it before it makes the jump. Biggest damn wolf you have ever seen. Big old wolf with slavering mouth and big nasty ass canine teeth just jumped out from behind a big old rock and at y'all up at your horses.
Uh-oh.
But luckily for y'all, you both got combat reflexes and you saw it coming, so y'all ain't surprised. Now, problem is, it is moving pretty darn fast. And it takes a bite at the horse pulling the buckboard. I'm assuming that's a different horse than your riding horses.
Correct.
But the horse manages to rear up and get out of the way. The bite would have sunk right into its jugular vein, but the horse itself reacted pretty darn quickly and managed to dodge. Now, that being the case, which one of y'all has the higher basic speed, Mr. McCallister or Mr.
I do
Fox.
believe Sammy does. I have 6.25.
You're muted.
There we go.
Stefan,
Sorry, yeah, 6.75 is mine.
yep. So you are the one to act first.
All right, so I am going to do a fast draw. So let's see what I get here. I got a 10 out of 14.
Excellent. That means it does not take your action to ready the weapon. It is in your hand and you may use it.
And I will take a shot then. And that is an 8 out of 14.
Pretty good shot. All right.
You want me to roll for location?
You can if you want. Yeah, I was going to do it, but I don't mind you doing it.
So I got a 9.
Torso.
Yep, torso.
Yep. All right. So it's a normal hit in the torso. Go ahead and roll your damage.
All righty. And that's one thing I was going to ask. What's the damage on the, because I got the new pistoles, the 45 Peacemaker. What's the damage on that again?
The damage
3D
on
minus
that.
3D minus 1 large piercing.
3D minus 1. All right.
The 1873 model, which is also Peacemaker. I thought that was 3D minus 2. That's what I'm reading.
Should be 3D minus 1.
Fair enough.
That is 12. So minus 1 be 11.
All right. 11 points of damage. Slams into this thing, knocking it back. First off, it don't hit quite as hard as you might have wanted it to or expected it to. It's like its hide is tougher than it ought to be. Second off, well, let's give it a second. Let's move on. Mr. McCallister.
All right. I also do my fast draw. I may have failed. Fast draw.
Apparently, this is a
I
rat.
didn't. I got 13 out of 15.
The 3 die minus 1 is errata. That explains it. All right, thank you.
No worries.
So the fast draw and then my pistol now. You said to aim at the head would be at a -5, so it'd bring you down to 11, right?
Yeah, if you're aiming for the front of the head, for the face, basically. If you aim specifically for the skull, which has a little less DR you have to get through to get to the. We get this thing open here. Yeah. To aim for the skull itself, it'd be -7. To aim for the eye would be -9. Can't really hit the eye from the angle you're at, because eyes are basically pointed the other way. But you could definitely take the -7 and aim for the skull.
All right, that's what I'll do. So I'll put me down at 9.
Yep.
And I hit 9 exactly.
Excellent. Well, it don't move out the way of that one neither. So all it does is it takes off the skull DR and it's whatever other DR it has, because it does seem to, from the way Mr. Fawcett's bullet hit it. But go ahead and roll your damage.
You said that's 3d6 minus 1?
Correct.
Oof. Too bad I didn't roll that on the hit. That's 4.
Yeah, it looks like
It's 3d6 minus 1 is the errata. It's 3d6 minus 2. You have a more current copy of high tech apparently than I do.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
I got the errata backward on that. Okay.
Sorry, I should have been more specific.
Alrighty.
Good to
So that
know.
would drop that. Yeah, that would drop that to 3.
Yep.
Yeah, that bullet just creases the back of its skull and just slides right off. It don't even draw blood.
Oh well.
And
My current copy.
as it spins around to face you two, it growls and then it throws back its head and howls loud as the devil itself. And I need y'all both to make fright checks, which is a special kind of will check based on the fact that not only is it bigger than any wolf you've ever seen, and it's howling louder than any wolf you've ever heard in the middle of the daytime, but you can also see the wound that Mr. Fawcett put in it is already closing up.
Oh boy.
So make a
Here-
3-6 roll under your will. The highest that you can roll and be safe is a 13. A 14 or higher, no matter what your will is a failure unless you have the brave perk.
You're making it very tempting to turn McCallister into the first ever druid vampire slayer werewolf. So I don't know. I'm very tempted on what I want to do here.
Yes, but think of what Mr. McCallister wants to do right here.
Yeah, that there's a lot of problems going on in my head right now.
All right, so go ahead and roll those fright checks for me.
Yeah, I
That's a
rolled
ni-
an 8 and I got a 13 will.
You are
I rolled a
absolutely
9 and
fine.
got a 12.
You're both fine. It's scary, but it does not cause you any problems. And that is actually what its action was. What are you going to do next, Mr. Fawcett?
So I see that this thing's wound is closing up.
Yeah.
I am going to
And keep in mind, this is in the space of a second, so it's
yeah,
for it to
I
be
am going
visible at
to
this.
I'm going to curse under my breath, and I am going to go ahead and try and take another shot at it.
All right. Well, now it's face on to you.
So it's right up on me.
No, it's not right up on you. It's about.
Oh, it's just okay.
It's facing toward you,
Got ya.
from the front of the wagon.
Okay.
Hang on one second while I see how the horse reacts. By the way. Yeah. Okay. So the horse failed its fright check, but it hasn't had a chance to take its action yet.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Yep. So let me try and take another shot here. All right, come on. Mama needs a new pair of shoes, but she's not going to get them. I miss. I rolled a, let's see. That would be a 15.
All right. That's a miss, but it's not a critical. So you just do not place the bullet on target. Mr. McCallister.
I'm shooting. That is a 15 out of 16.
All right.
It's a good thing I raised my skill before we started.
And then you didn't try to call the shot this time.
Yep.
All right. So roll 3-6 to give me where it hit.
Where it hit, 14.
Got him in the left front leg. Actually, no, we're looking at quadruped. 14, left hind leg. Very good.
And I rolled with the -1. That's a 10.
All right. This time, you hit it in the haunch, in the back haunch, and it actually yelps a little as the bullet sinks in. It doesn't look like it did it as much hurt as it should have, but it did it enough hurt to make it limp for a second. It is a very, very unhappy wolf. And as a result, it's going to change its perspective and target from the horse to Mr. McCallister.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. No, bad. Very bad.
And it will leap high into the air, jumping for Mr. McCallister. It's going to go ahead and take a neck. Come on, show me the neck. Yeah, that's going to go ahead and take a -5 as it leaps for your neck. Which puts it at 13. It gets exactly a 13. You may attempt to dodge or block or dodge or parry this bite.
What's higher for me? Guessing dodge.
Do you have fast draw knife?
Yes.
If you can attempt to fast draw your knife and then parry with your knife skill, and if you succeed, you do damage to its face.
It's true.
But if you fail, it's gonna eat you.
So let's try the cool. All right, let's try it. So I roll fast draw knife, which I got a 6 on out of 15.
Yep.
And then
Good.
what do I roll now? What am I
Your
rolling against?
parry on your large knife, which is either a Bowie or an Arkansas toothpick, one of those. Your parry on your large knife is a 10.
Ooh. All right. Can't see one of my dice. That is a 9.
Very good. All right. Not only do you prevent this thing from ripping your throat out, but you also get to do 1 die of cutting damage to its face.
3.
All right. You leave a thin trail of blood right down the middle of its nose and across the middle of its snout, where you basically slapped it with the edge of the blade as it was coming in. That closes up almost instantly, but it really wasn't happy with that. Unfortunately, at this point, Samuel, you were the one driving the buckboard, right? I need you to make, at this point, remember that how I said that you didn't have to roll your teamster? Well, now you do. And
Here it is.
Yeah. And it's at that -3 off your right.
I rolled a 4.
Well done. You managed to pull on the reins and speak to that animal in just such a way that despite the fact that there's a giant wolf trying to eat one of the passengers, it calms down and doesn't try to take off and throw everybody out everywhere.
Nice.
It's maybe the most impressive thing I've seen in a game. All right. Meanwhile, back at the church. Now, confession took a while, but so did riding out and starting to ride back. So the two of you at the church can hear the gunfire ringing out from the other side of town. Now, probably won't be able to get there to help with whatever somebody's shooting at, but you might get there in time to pick up the pieces.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna rush that way.
Yep.
I will follow.
Your horse is back at the house, but there are a couple of horses tied up outside several of the saloons.
Yeah.
Can I throw something at myself real quick?
Sure.
Because I'm thinking, I'm on top of a horse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if I parried that thing and caused its face to pull away from my face, that body is still coming at me.
Normally, you would expect so, yes.
I think that thing probably knocked me off my horse.
Make a ride check. At a -2.
All right.
And thank you for being honest about it.
12 out of 14.
All right. Well, you made it. It ran into you, but it must have hit your leg primarily, mainly because you smacked it down a little bit. So it ran into your leg and moved you and the horse, but didn't knock you off the horse. And that ride check also keeps your horse from losing its ever-loving mind. Luckily, it's a real calm horse. It's survived grape shot. It's not really worried about this wolf. Unlike the one pulling the wagon.
Yeah, it used to be right next to cannons all the time. It's used to
Yep.
traumatic.
Cavalry trained horses are different.
Yep.
Do I recognize the horses of anybody that I know and is friendly towards me?
Oh, that's it. Make an area knowledge roll real quick. Perfectly reasonable.
Success by 3.
Why, yes, you do. Those two horses over there in front of the Swan's Nest, which is one of the brothels, those belong to a couple of fellas that you helped out not 2 weeks ago.
I'm going to do the one thing that you never do in the Old West. I'm going to steal a horse.
It might be
You can get hung
borrowed.
for that.
It's true.
As long as you bring it back, I'm sure it's going to be all right. Bring it back alive.
Well, I mean, that is the problem, isn't it? All right, so yeah, you hop on the horse, untie the horse and hop on it. Are you Miss Eloise, are you joining him on a horse, or
I'm going to run. I really don't want to be party to horse theft.
Can I reach up and grab her and just put her on the back?
you can try? Will it
Like
be
to.
okay? That would be brawling or wrestling for the grab.
Yeah. Success by 2.
All right, Miss Eloise, you can certainly dodge or parry that if you like.
I will try to dodge. So,
All right, they're the same level anyway. You're dodging your parry.
where do I find the? Oh wait, they're over here. Okay. All right. So I am unsuccessful at dodging. Actually,
All
no,
right.
I tied it. I tied, so it's a 9.
I've got a defender.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You hit yours at 9. That means boom, you're good. All right, you managed to dodge out of the way.
Unhand me, sir.
Goddamn, I hope our friends are coming. I hope they ain't doing nothing silly or nothing.
So
Meanwhile,
Eloise is just going to take off running.
halfway back at the mine, it is once again Samuel's opportunity to take some action.
I do not have fast draw for this, but I am going to go ahead and well, no.
Are you
So it's
thinking
on top.
lasso?
It's on top of McCallister right now, right?
It bounced off him and the horse. It's a big wolf, but it's not so big that it could knock him down. So it
Okay.
bounced off him and the horse, and it's right next to him.
Yeah, no, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just take another shot.
All right.
Better. That is a 7 out of 14.
Very good. Make your roll for location.
Location. That is going to be a 16, which I think is the foot.
Yeah, you shot it in the right front foot. The quadruped table is slightly different than the biped table, but not by a whole lot. All right, so you shot it in the right front foot. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Roll damage. Oh, and it's -2, yes?
Yeah.
So that would be 12 after the minus. I roll 14.
All right. Well, counting all that, you hit the paw, and even though it's a little tougher than you'd expect a paw to be, it was a real good shot. And you see that paw just sort of get blown apart. It's obviously more resistant to damage than it should be, and it looks like it's healing, but it's hurt. That thing howls like the devil and really seems unhappy. It's not able to put any weight on that paw. Mr. McCallister.
Mr. McCallister is going to do what I think Samuel was thinking of doing and pulls out his lasso.
All right. Well, you don't have fast draw lasso, so that will be your
Correct.
action for the round. Okay. This thing's right front paw is crippled, and it's still hurting in the back leg, so it is not moving at its full speed. It begins to try to run off, but it doesn't get super far. It gets about 5 yards at the full speed it can manage right now, which is way slower than a wolf would normally go. And it is back to Samuel's turn.
Since it is trying to make tracks, I am going to go ahead and take my action this time around to grab my rifle.
Very good. Mr. McCallister, you have your lasso in hand.
All right. That is an 11 out of 14.
All right. Obviously, you're aiming to lasso its neck because that's about all you can do.
Yep.
And not only was its dodge penalized, but it rolled a 17.
Oh,
Meaning that it critically failed its dodge, which you can do, by the way. That's a fun part. It dodged basically right into the lasso, and you've got a good solid tightened down noose on its neck.
All right. Well, it's time to hog tie this wild animal.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Yes, Christopher.
I'm not trying to tell you how to run your game, but when you throw a lasso, you usually go for the feet. Usually,
Yes.
I just wanna...
But that's not what they do in the movies. So that's
it
not
just
what-
lost its foot. I can't lasso a foot that ain't there.
Oh. Any rate. Okay, so you have hold of it. Now let's find out if that was a great idea.
Well, from the stories of his grandpappy, he probably has a different idea of what this is than the rest of them.
Maybe you go ahead and I need you to roll against your strengths.
Looks like I might be getting off of that horse anyway. 12 out of 12.
All right. It got a critical success.
Nice. Here I go skiing.
Maybe, because now you need to make a riding check to
All
stay
right.
on your horse. If you manage to stay on your horse, you're not going skiing. You just lose the rope.
Oh, that's an interesting question. When McCallister just let that fly, what's his bet? He is overconfident.
It's true.
I think if the choice is between letting go of the rope or letting go of the horse, he's letting go of the horse.
All righty. Whew. Well, you're overconfident and impulsive, so
That's right.
legit. Well done. All right, so McCallister gets yanked off the horse and is being dragged as this creature continues to move. And makes it another 5 yards, dragging McCallister along behind it. Samuel, what are you doing?
I'm going to take a shot with my rifle.
All right.
See if I can.
Shoot the other leg, damn it.
Let's see what we get. Man, not bad. Let's see. That's 3, 3, 6, 7, 8. That's an 8 out of 14.
Well, its dodge is penalized by a couple of things. It's healing, yes, but not quick enough to fix the crippled front paw. In addition, it has a McCallister. Dragging and it got a 17 on the dodge. So, yeah, go ahead and roll location.
Location. That is that's a 5, actually.
Whoo! You shot it in the face.
That's not.
Probably the back of the head if it's running away from me, I'd guess.
Yeah, thereabouts. All right. Roll your damage.
All right. And rifle, if I remember correct, is 5D, yeah?
Depends on which rifle.
The
but
45 cartridge rifle.
pretty certain yours is, yeah.
So that is, oh, not bad. That is 15 points.
All right. Didn't hit the skull straight on, but it did hit the head. And it more than goes through all of the extra DR involved in the head and not hitting the skull straight on and all the rest of that. Leaving it with about, 9 points of damage once it gets in. Now that 9 points of damage turns into, I believe it's piercing plus, so that turns into 2 times.
Yeah, it is piercing plus, yeah.
Yep, that doubles. And then it goes by 8. So basically 16 times. Yes, Chris.
Sorry. Large piercing is 1.5 times wounding multiplier, and
See, that's right.
if it's for the
Plus,
skull, you
plus.
only use the ×4 multiplier. You don't use ×4 then ×1.5.
Okay. All right.
I feel like a rules lawyer, and that is like so incompatible with who I am.
Christopher, it's fine. I don't get to run GURPS as often as I want to. Thank you. All right. So at any rate, 4 times is still pretty nice considering that's 36. 36 points of damage to the brain pan. It is down. You hear boop, and it face plants. And there's still a rope around its neck.
So I'm just gonna make since seeing this thing heal and do all these things, I'm just gonna make an occultism roll.
Mhm.
See what I'm figuring out. And I rolled a 9 out of 11, I believe I have. Yes. Yeah. So of course, there's just two words that come to Sam's mind. Loop Guru.
That was, in fact, the pair of words I was going to say if you hadn't thought of it on your own.
Yeah.
Because those are the words that would have been used to describe this creature in your homeland.
Yep.
Which is funny because it means wolf werewolf. But what?
Yeah, I know. I know.
Uh,
I'm going to go over and see if I can make sure this thing is as dead as I can make it.
it doesn't look dead. And oh, just by the way, as Mr. McCallister getting himself up off the ground and you're heading that direction, you can both see it nice and clear. You watch its bones begin to snap and crack and pop and shift under the skin. And the skin begins to peel away from the flesh in just handfuls. Bloody fur all over the ground. And just a couple of seconds of this is enough to cause you to, first of all, before I move on, have to make another fright check.
Yep.
Can't roll this on the cool stuff. 4.
Well,
I got
apparently,
a
werewolves just don't scare you none.
Well,
I got a 10 out of 13.
it makes
All
sense.
right. You keep on moving towards it, and then as after just a few seconds, it is a young man, tanned, but obviously of European extraction, dark hair, dark eyebrows, completely naked.
As
His right
Sam,
hand is still a mess. He's got a bullet wound in his hip, and some of his brain is on the ground where he shot him. There is a hole in his head, two holes in his head, bigger one on the way out, of course. But it is still slow. It is still healing, just slower than it was when he was in the form of a wolf.
So with that roll that I made, you let me know if this would be allowable for Sam to have enough knowledge from the stories he's heard to those wounds that are in the head.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try and stuff some silver pieces out of my pocket in there.
before Sam does that, McCallister's on top of this guy. And
Okay.
getting in the way and trying to hog tie him.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try and reach in there while he's doing that.
No, McCallister will actually push your hand away.
All right. If you want to keep trying, we will have a brawling contest, basically. At that
I mean, if he
point.
pushes me away, I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna go. He might be more than we want to handle.
McCallister's too busy tying this thing up to answer.
All right.
Now that he's been shown this world, he's taken everything his grandpappy told him and going full hog.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go back over while he's doing that, and I am going to go back over to the
horse,
and I am going to sheath my rifle I'm going to get my sawed-off shotgun,
Mm-hmm.
and I am going to be ready, just in case anything starts to go south again, to drop some of them silver pieces down the barrel of that shotgun before I fire it.
All right. All right. Very cool. All right. So I need you to make a roll against your knot tying, Mr. McCallister.
Yeah, I did. It's a 12 out of 14.
Very good. First of all, tying up a person who is not actually able to resist at the moment isn't that difficult. You get him hogtied pretty well. I assume you meant literally hogtied, right?
Yep.
Okay. What you gonna do then?
McCallister just kind of kneels maybe 3 or 4 feet away from him and is just staring at him.
It takes about 30 or 45 seconds, but the wounds close up. Takes another couple of minutes, and the bullets kind of pop out. The bullet in both of the bullets went, the head and the hand went through, but the bullet at the hip pops out after a couple of minutes. And then the young man's eyes flicker open.
As soon as the eyes open, McCallister just Samuel would hear it too. Just says quietly, "Wolver."
Wolver what?
Are you a wolver?
Where the hell am I? And why am I tied up?
Well, you just attacked me and my friend in a auspicious form of a wolf.
Oh no, not again.
It's something that happened often.
Sometimes, but only at night, usually, and on the full moon, which is tomorrow.
So you did not have any inclination to do what you just did.
I have no idea what I just did, because when I'm it, I'm not me, I'm it.
All right, that's a little different than what I thought. What's your name?
Michael Jones.
All right, where you from, Michael?
Well, originally Georgia, but been a bit.
When did this all start?
Oh, shoot. About 3 years after the war, I went out hunting after a boar and got bit by a wolf. It's been like this ever since.
And you just been living on your own, or?
Well, I mean, mostly. I try to shackle myself to something at night on the nights when it happens.
What's the last thing you remember?
I had just made a delivery out at the Gwill place.
Yeah, figure it'd be something like that.
So,
What day
question.
is it?
Sorry, say that again.
What day is it?
Today is what did you say it was earlier? So Thursday?
Sure. I didn't, but it works.
You
for
said
me.
it wasn't Wednesday and it wasn't Sunday, so I picked
Yeah.
it.
Thursday works for me. Carry on.
Samuel, you have any thoughts on this?
No, and just for reference, I rolled for my post combat shakes, and I got a 10 out of 12. So
Okay, good.
and I go, nope. And I'm looking over to see after all this ruckus, are we starting to draw eyes from the town nearby? Because there was some gunplay going on, or are people just kind of, it's
No, mostly they're just like, oh no, another day in
Another-
Bone Gulch.
okay.
Except for your companions. Isaiah will be arriving about now. It'll take Miss Eloise a little more time.
He's all, yeah.
Well,
Sam will
Michael-
just be like, well, that fella,
I'm utterly
you might want to get him to the
because
Padre.
They've got a man and a rope.
Yeah,
And he's-
yeah, they've got a naked man hogtied. There's blood everywhere. Nobody looks hurt.
Well, Michael, do you think you got yourself under control right now?
As far as I can tell, but then I ain't never had this happen during the daytime.
Hey, Sam, can you do me one more roll before I untie this guy? Because you're a little bit better at reading people than I am.
I'm just gonna, I'll do a detect lies to see if he seems
Very good.
truthful. Holy shit.
You roll 16.
I did not roll a 16. I rolled an 18.
Oh, nice.
So- I'll probably believe whatever the hell this fella tells me.
Oh, he is quite obviously lying. He is lying. He has malicious intent toward you and your
Sam
friend.
is like, I don't trust him one bit.
No,
I
no.
wouldn't let him out of them ropes for nothing.
Oh God, we're gonna die, and Eloise is not here to save us.
Well, I'm going to roll. What would I roll to try to see? Is observation at like a minus or something?
No. Detect lies doesn't have a default.
Okay.
If somebody is good at lying to you, if they make their roll, you just are gonna swallow it hook, line, and sinker unless you're specifically trained in psychology, body language, or detect lies.
So, just to give a little background, McCallister's idea of a lycanthrope is that of the Celtic Isles, which is actually a nice being.
I know what a wolver is,
Yeah, and
and the fellas
yeah.
werewolves.
So they have no malicious intent. So McCallister's like, this doesn't make any sense. Something must have gone wrong.
Yeah,
Somebody must have
the
just
wolvers-
pissed them off.
The wolvers drop fish and game off with the other people, and the fellas protect the island. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. McCallister stands up and looks at Sam and looks back at this guy and says, I don't know, Sam. This is all very weird. I don't know I don't think he actually wanted to do anything wrong.
He starts going fuzzy again. I'm gonna riddle him with silver.
Michael, that sound good to you?
If it'll stop me from hurting anybody, yeah.
All right. McCallister's getting on time.
Yeah, I'm gonna be ready.
I don't suppose either of y'all's got any pants.
Actually, I do have an extra. I actually have an extra set of clothes in my pack on the horse.
All right, good.
So I untie him
I'd
and I
hate
go
to
get
walk
some.
back into town looking like this.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't go over very well. McCallister gets some clothes for him and throws it over.
Yeah, he goes behind a rock to preserve his modesty as much as he can and gets dressed. They don't fit exactly right, but they preserve his modesty pretty well. So he comes on out. Thank you. I appreciate it. I also appreciate y'all not ending me while I was laying there. Seems as how you know how to do it.
Sam just kind of nods to McCallister. You can thank him for that.
Thank you.
I'm not one for killing for absolutely no reason.
I mean, I gave you a reason. I tried. Apparently, I tried to eat you. I mean, that counts, don't it?
Well, not after you were hogtied.
You know what? That's fair. Hadn't quite thought of it that way. All
All right,
right.
Michael. Well, we got a couple others that probably be looking to meet you.
Yeah, Isaiah, like I said, Isaiah has just gotten there
All right.
just before that exchange. And by the time he gets dressed, who knows? Miss Eloise might be coming into view, huffing
I'm
and
like,
puffing a
I
little.
stole a horse for this.
Eloise,
Well,
since you
I'm
ran over here,
Yes.
I need you to make a health roll. Since you do not, in fact, have a running skill.
I got a 4.
Oh, he's barely breathing hard.
Apparently, I don't know how to run either. That's interesting.
Well, anybody can run. It's just pace running.
Yeah,
is
no,
a whole
I'm
Yeah,
different-
the running skill is being really good at going a long distance without getting exhausted.
right.
It's the skill of cross country runners. is
Yeah.
what it is.
All right. Well, Isaiah, this is Michael.
Hello.
He was a little
Michael
bit more
Jones.
fuzzier than he is now when we first met him. A little less teeth as well. Seems to be under control.
I have less
now.
teeth now than then, is what he's
Yeah,
trying to say. He got them kind of backwards.
Said he had a run in up at the house, and that's what caused him to go all furry.
This time,
Okay.
probably. What I said was, last thing I remembered was making a delivery at the house.
Right.
Normally, I only shift on full moons at night. So I'm a mite perplexed.
Well, we've seen some things with animals. We've seen that this guy, I'm sorry, I'll give you a full rundown once I talk to my friends here.
Sure.
And we've also seen that and been told that he can, screw with people's minds. So if a wolver like our friend here were to show up, take control of his mind, have him attack us, I'm wondering something. Samuel, how good are you at making talismans of protection of such?
I mean, I remember a few things. I might be able to fumble a little something together.
Because I'm thinking a wolver on our side going into that house, that'd be mighty fine.
Yeah, as long as we can find some way so he don't turn against us, I suppose.
Maybe something to that.
All right. So Eloise has arrived, neither huffing nor puffing.
So has Eloise heard about this talismans of protection conversation, having a wolver with you?
She would have heard that last bit. Yeah.
Okay. So her immediate response is to turn to Mr. Jones and say, "Pardon me, I have not caught your name, but are you some kind of wolver, as my friend says?"
I don't know what a wolver is, but I turn into a wolf, if it's what he means.
Have
When
you ever
wolves-
been in control of yourself when you have changed?
No. No, that's why I chain myself up at night, is because I try to kill stuff and eat it. Just whatever's available. If I can get out into the woods, I'll hunt an animal. But if I can't, then I go after people. And I don't like hurting people, so I chain myself up.
Understandable.
Are you now, or have you ever been a member of the Infernal Powers?
How would I know that?
Well,
Slip the card in his pocket.
here's my thought, though. There's probably a lot of people up there we don't care about dying, right?
Hey,
All right. This is when I turn and I give the rundown. Vampires, demons, God knows what, coming down from the mountains, trying to kill us all. And we think that one particular vampire took control over your mind to do what you just did.
Huh. All right. I only got one question. What's a vampire?
I don't actually rightfully know. That would be something for the other two to describe.
All right. Turns and
Let's-
looks at you.
Let's just say that there's things other than what you turn into that run around in the night, and vampire is one of those.
Sure.
At
Yes,
this
indeed.
moment, Eloise wants to pull out her, if she could have gotten one, a copy of like something like one of those spiritualist journals that you buy for a penny.
Yep.
She
ahead.
thumbs through it and goes, "A vampire is a corpse that comes back to life and feeds on the blood of the living."
Well, that don't sound wholesome at all.
It is not. So now you can see why we are so hell-bent on trying to destroy it.
All right. Well, where do I come into all this? I'm just a normal
No
fella, and except when I, turn into a wolf and try to eat people, which don't seem too helpful to me.
Well, there's probably a lot of people up there that are going to try to stop us from doing anything to the vampire. As much as you are against eating folks, I would suspect that these folks are folks that probably deserve a little gnawing on, for lack of a better term.
No, sir, I do not like the sound of that.
Also, Mr. McCallister, if this thing can control Mr. Jones, then why in the name of sanity would, and it probably this thing probably sent him against the two of you.
Thus the amulet of protection I was talking about earlier.
I mean, it might work, but I ain't no guarantees with that sort of thing. I mean,
You told me earlier, Sam, it all has to do with your faith. And I ain't hearing a lot of faith in your voice right now.
I mean, I have faith in me, but I don't know about this fella here that turns into a wolf.
Don't take this dream away
How's
from
Isaiah?
me. Guys, don't take
How's
this dream
Isaiah?
away from me.
How's Isaiah responding to all this?
Sam is gonna kind of look around and start rolling a cigarette.
I just want you all to picture the album art of a one-eyed masked cowboy firing into a crowd of vampires with a werewolf eating shit on around him. All right, that's what I want you to picture right now.
It's a good visual.
Handle this shit.
And you know what? We're going to stop right there for that visual because it's around about 10 o'clock, and that seems to me to be a good time to take a break.
There we go. I was gonna say that'd make a good penny novel.
Wouldn't it?
I am going to take the horse back before I get shot and hung. Probably not in that order.
It's a solid
Reasonable.
plan.
Probably not.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. This has been in support of the National Network of Abortion Funds, and I'll chat at you again when you come back. Welcome back to Terror at Bone Gulch, the GURPS actual play staged for the benefit of the National Network of Abortion Funds. When last we left our heroes, if we may call them so, they had just released a young man from bondage and allowed him to clothe himself after he attacked them in the form of a massive wolf. And now they are still standing with that young gentleman halfway between the mines and town, horses nearby, and the wagon with the horse. Somehow managed to, Samuel somehow managed to keep from running off.
Well, I mean, Michael, it's up to you. I'm not going to force you to do anything you don't want to do, but worst comes to worst, we got a box of dynamite.
I don't think I want to be involved in all that. I mean, it's going to be hard enough, the weight on my soul from being a wolf man and people I've killed or whatever might have happened while I was otherwise, because I honestly don't remember a single bit of it. I'm not going to go in and try to kill somebody on purpose.
Well, think of it this way. If you're a God-fearing man, I think the eradication of evil would be quite the prospect if wanting to get through the pearly gates. I'm going to roll fast talker on that one.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That is a 6.
Good. Well, I mean, you make a good point. I'm not 100% comfortable with it, but
Can
Looks over at
Eloise attempt to overcome this some way through rolling her own fast talk? Because she's not cool with this whole let's weaponize Michael thing.
God damn it, Eloise.
she absolutely can attempt to counter his fast talk with her own.
All right, so let's see. I rolled a 9, and I succeeded by a margin of 4. So
I did 6 out of 13, so
You did. At the moment, it seems like he is more swayed to Mr. McCallister's perspective.
I'm
He's just a
thinking,
little
I'm thinking
quicker.
we ought to be worried if he could control this fella. I'm kind of curious what other kind of things are running around.
wouldn't it be great for a Wolver to take care of them too? Just saying.
We're
I think
burning daylight.
I think the problem is he's got no control when he's like that. Who knows who he might go after? I mean, he might get some of them, sure, but who
That's
knows who
why
else he might go after?
we put him on one side of the compound and we're on the other side of the compound.
No, sir.
Oh, wait. So now, not only do you want me to go in and kill folks, but you want me to do it by myself on the opposite side of the building from you.
It
folks.
doesn't look like you need much help. But
who's going to keep me aimed at what needs hurting? Because I can't do it.
listen, there's enough folk up there. I don't think that'll be much of a problem.
And you
Mr.
think all of them are
McCallister.
evil just because they work at his house?
Considering what this thing is, yes.
Mr. McCallister, that is patently foolish.
I mean, this whole thing is patently foolish. Let's not get ourselves a little bit like this whole thing's crazy. I'm just
what
saying
if
we add one more ally to our list of folk helping us rather than just doing it ourselves.
some of them folks up there is controlled like he was? he goes tearing into them, that ain't gonna sit right with that man's soul.
What are we going to do about it? We're going to shoot him, aren't we?
Yeah, but that's on my soul, not his.
And I don't think that God Almighty, Miss Eloise, now if you get my meaning on this one, if someone's coming at you and is going to kill you while you're trying to kill basically the devil, and they're mind controlled and you got to kill them to get to the devil, is that really going to come at you?
Anytime an
Yes.
innocent person gets killed, it'll weigh on your soul. It's murder.
He's out of line, but he's right.
So Dixie, who you siding with?
You,
That's right. That's my friend right there.
it's the smart thing to do. I'll go with him.
All right. Because we have one ally does not mean we split our own forces. This is military 101. We are more, he is not. We have to take care of one side. He does the distraction on the other.
I don't much feel like just being bait.
We're okay. I don't know if you all get this. We're all bait. This thing eats people. All right. We're all gonna be put into a position where things are gonna be coming at us. We're not going to be any less in danger than you are. Actually, we might be in less danger, considering I don't know how much silver a vampire just keeps around the house to get him killed. I doubt that he keeps much.
I don't know anything about vampires, but I do know that y'all all seem to know your way around a gun and fighting. And I know how to shoot, but I shoot animals. I hunt to eat. That is not the same thing as fighting people.
I think it's gonna be up to that man to make that choice.
I say I ain't forcing him to do nothing. I was just trying to make a sound argument to gain his help.
Well, if I can help in some way without going up to that house and getting shot at, then maybe I will.
Well, I tried.
Now, if Isaiah would like to attempt an appeal of some kind to balance this thing out, it's still in McCallister's favor, basically because of the roles, but then a lot of people chimed in the other direction. So
The grumpy half-breed is going to make a reaction roll. I'm rolling at -1. I got a 12, so neutral at best.
okay.
I just tell him if he wants to be a man with a gun, then he's a man with a gun, but we do need another ally. And he's already neck deep in the supernatural occult stuff anyways, being who he is.
What about the Colonel?
Not a bad idea either.
Mr. Jones is not a fighter, but the Colonel is. In fact, according to the two of you, she points to Fawcett and Isaiah, he is a greatly respected fighter, is he not?
Yep.
Well, Michael, again, it's up to you. I thought it would be a glorious battle fighting with you at my side or on the other side of where I'm fighting. But I accept your decision either way.
Well, that's the thing is some folks are meant for glorious battling. Some folks are meant to be hunters and farmers.
Don't see why you can't be both.
Because glorious battle gets you killed and then you can't hunt or farm no more.
That's probably true. Although, considering we're dealing with the undead, that may not be true.
That don't make me feel no better.
Yeah, probably not.
All right. So at this point, given the many levels of discussion, unless you can come up with a slightly better reason for him to risk his life, he was leaning toward listening to you, but his self-interest and again not being the adventurous type himself is leading him away from this encounter.
I'm still going to blame Eloise, though.
She's probably fine with that. From her perspective, she's saving a young man's life. All right, so he is going to head back off in the general direction of town, but not directly because he doesn't live at town. Where are y'all headed?
I guess Kendall.
All right.
How close is it to when the Smith said the bullets would be done?
He said he'd have them done in the morning, so pretty near done, should be.
Yeah,
After all 12 of y'all done.
I think we ought to swing by the gunsmith on the way.
Yeah, I'm going to go with him. You two mind taking these back, pointing at the giant crate?
No.
All right, then.
Yep. So swing by the gunsmith and pick those up.
So
Right.
Eloise is going to ask Isaiah if she can run an errand while he gets the dynamite to her house. Is that all right?
Sure. I'll drive it to the house.
Okay.
Are you going off default also, Christopher?
Yeah.
That's okay. I think everybody is. I don't know that any of you actually has the skill specifically to drive a wagon.
So what Eloise would like to do while everybody else is engaged is she would like to go to the train station,
Uh-huh.
and for a minute there, she's looking back at the town. She looks over at the ticket counter, asks herself, what are you going to do?
Yep. It's a reasonable question to ask oneself in these circumstances.
And then against her better judgment, she's going to go try to meet Isaiah at the house.
If
I have-
McCallister saw that, he'd go buck wild. Not only do you take an ally, but you're thinking about leaving? All right, well.
I have
Eloise-
succeeded by
Eloise.
one, including the penalty.
Very
I'm
good.
probably very nervous driving it back. People don't.
You are, but again, you're not under pressure, so it's not as bad. I mean, other than the pressure of having a crate full of dynamite in the back.
And I am not a yegg, so no.
All right. So y'all head on. Time passes. You meet up back at the house. And yeah, you have no difficulty whatsoever getting the ammunition. Plenty of 45 long Colt rounds and 12 .36 calibers.
All righty. I will pick those up and slide them a little something extra and head back to meet the others. Make sure I switch out the loads in my own weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess McCallister sits and starts divvying out the ammo and grumbles to himself.
Eloise will hand out the vials of holy water that the Padre gave her.
I will hand out the steaks that I've been making.
armament montage.
Indeed. It's a fairly standard trope in these cases.
Yeah.
Speaking of armament, do you bring out any of the items that you keep in the house, Eloise?
Yes, I do. So my shotgun and my rifle.
The other items, I believe, should have been on you.
Yes.
You just never had call to use them yet.
Right. The knife and the pistol.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes. Got all of it.
Yep. Very good. Yeah, so she goes into a closet and pulls out double-barreled 10-gauge shotgun and a Sharps 50-90.
All righty then.
Well, we going tonight?
I think we should go in the daytime.
I mean, it doesn't seem to have much of a difference considering we first saw him in the daytime.
I was about to say, folks with occultism can go ahead and give me a roll.
Take a look.
Eloise got an 8 out of 13 or 14, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Well, you're not 100% certain, Eloise, but most evil things, even if they can stand the daylight, they're not as strong. Because after all, the angel of the sun, Uriel himself, takes a dislike to such things.
Sanctimoniously quoting Emanuel Swedenborg.
All right, then first thing in the morning.
Sounds like a plan.
It's not even noon.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we want to go now. I mean, get ready to, because I suspect at this point, after what happened last night and what just happened with our fuzzy friend, either he's coming tonight or he's probably bringing some friends, maybe.
All right, you getting the colonel for this, or are we just going?
I think we ought to ride past there and pick up the colonel and then head there.
All right, well, let's get going. And McCallister starts loading up his horse with all sorts of things.
Fair enough. All right. After the whittling and loading and armament montage, as was said, you all load up, you head out. Who's on a horse and who's on the wagon?
Horse.
Horse.
Damn it.
Listen, I don't think any of us have anything for wagon riding.
Hey, you know what? You can always get Eloise to
Actually,
drive,
I
and in the
do.
truest sense of the word,
I
call shotgun.
I have Teamster.
Right. It's at default, just like everybody else's, but it's a decent.
There you go.
Also, Eloise is the only person here who's not a trained soldier.
True.
So it makes a certain amount of sense for you to handle the cart.
True.
All right. So you head out. You ride across the desert as the sun reaches the highest peak of the day. Normally, this would be considered absolute foolishness. But what's the phrase? Needs must when the devil drives. Seems oddly appropriate at this point. You head out, make it to the canyon, down into the canyon where Colonel Kendall's house is. Come around the corner and you can see the smoke.
Like a lot of smoke or a little bit of smoke.
Like a lot of smoke.
Oh boy.
You get down there though. Side of the house looks like it's caved in. There's a few new piles of bones around the building. From here, there's no sign of the colonel.
I am going to dismount, draw my rifle, make sure it's loaded with silver, and quietly, stealthily approach the house as I can.
Make that stealth roll.
I'm gonna follow, and Isaiah looks visibly upset.
Make the stealth roll.
14 out of 14.
All right.
Is looks like I got just a second. Let me double check. I got an 8 out of 12.
I also got a 14 out of 14.
So 2 dead on and 1 margin of 4. All right.
Actually, as they're moving forward, McCallister is going to kind of stop halfway between the house and where Eloise is, so Eloise isn't left completely behind.
Reasonable. You make it up to the side of the house where it's stove in. Just peek your head in, and you're greeted with the barrel of a rifle pointed at your head just before the colonel drops the barrel and goes, "Oh, thank goodness."
You all right, Colonel?
I'm a little bruised. They some of them came last night. Unfortunately, I'm completely out of holy water, and I also don't have any more kerosene.
Well, we got a buckboard full of dynamite and a little bit of holy water Miss Eloise got from the church.
Well, that's very good of you, Miss Eloise. Very wise.
Thank you, Colonel.
I don't know if there's far as this vampire fella, but we got some silver bullets too. We run into a loop guru, they call them where I come from.
Werewolf.
Yes, sir.
Did you kill it?
No, sir. He was being controlled by this thing, we assume, but once he went back human, he was rather peaceable, so we let him go for now.
Well, I hope he's smart enough to tie himself up, because otherwise you're going to have to fight him again tonight. Especially if you hurt him in his beast form. That animal won't forget, even if he does.
Well, that's good to know. Anyway, we thought we might see about maybe taking care of business before we lose the daylight.
Well, I think you're probably right, and I think it's a marvelous idea, especially since I don't really have a place to hide from him anymore. So let me grab my sword, and I'll be right with you.
Yep, and I'll step back outside.
He comes out, basically in his Union uniform, except with all of the markings removed. And in addition, he is wearing what looks like a 17th century cuirasser's breastplate. And at his side, that slightly more straight than normal saber and revolver and rifle, just like the rest of you. Miss Eloise, if you don't mind, I can take the reins of that wagon if you like. Before I joined the army, I worked as a teamster and a drover.
Then I leave it to the hands of the practiced professional.
Yeah, we don't want to upset that dynamite too much, especially as there's some rocky terrain between here and that house.
No, sir.
Mr. McCallister, you look a little less doubtful of me than you did.
Yeah, I'm falling pretty deep.
Seen some things, huh?
Yep.
Isaiah, you all right?
Thought and nothing. I just was concerned.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Seems like there's something else, though, something else bothering you, eating at you.
We saw another one of those things. At least I think it was. It took the
Yeah.
form of my second in command.
Oh. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that must have been rough. Y'all didn't have any weapons to fight it yet, then, did you?
No.
Just try to remember, it may be your friend's body, but it's not your friend anymore. It remembers being your friend, but it ain't him.
What the
It'll
hell?
try to use everything it knows about you. Every bit of care you ever had against you. You got to steel yourself. If you want to help your friend, if you want to let him go, you've got to end it.
We'll see about that.
I know I can count on you, Isaiah. Y'all get loaded up. And unless you have other plans, you all head out toward the tall, dark Georgian mansion on the edge of the gulch.
Do we need to, I'm going to look at McCallister and say, do we need to prep that dynamite?
I'll get that under control once we get there. I want to kind of get a lay of the land before I figure out where I want to put it.
Besides, you don't want to get it completely put together before we start moving, because then it'll be even more volatile.
Fair enough.
The mansion is surrounded by a stone wall with iron spikes on the top. And access to the front is prevented by an iron gate. Place looks like the kind of place, if this fella could have managed to get them to build him a castle out here, he would have. This mansion has delusions of grandeur and noble self-importance written all over it.
Oh, he's an
And
arrogant bastard.
as you pull up, the gate swings open of its own accord. and you hear barking, loud, raucous barking from inside. As half a dozen, maybe more, very large black dogs charge toward the gate and out it and towards you. And that, my friends, is where we'll stop for the evening.
Yeah.
Oh, look, another RPG where I have to kill dogs. Wah. Ugh.
I just hope they're not belonging to John Wick. I mean, we might have real problems.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, that was
yeah.
a disaster.
They were in
Thank
real
you for
trouble.
watching, my friends. Thank you for watching this installment of Terror at Bone Gulch. Join us back here again next week for the final installment of Terror at Bone Gulch, where we find out whether our stalwart heroes will save the day or if they'll all perish, and what it will cost them to win. This has been an actual play supporting the National Network of Abortion Funds, and we do thank you for it. Now, I'm going to hand it over to Lion here in a moment, but I'm going to go ahead and let my fellas sign out first. Christopher, if you do the honors.
My name is Christopher R. Rice. I am a game designer and freelance writer. You can find me on Twitter or Patreon at Raven Penny, all one word. If you like GURPS, you can find my blog, Ravens and Pennies. That's somewhat known.
He's pretty good at what he does. He's published some good books. I own them. I recommend them. Justina.
Yeah, I'm Justina. I write horror, dark fiction, and RPG stuff. You can find me on Twitter at Justina Revolution. And please, please, please donate or spread the word about this charity and try to just do as much good as we can. Thank you.
Stefan.
Yeah, so I'm Stefan Huddleston. You can find me on Twitter, musing about TTRPGs. I'm a TTRPG scholar and a pop culture and American and sub-Saharan African historian. So you can find me musing about politics and TTRPGs and movies and a whole bunch of other things. And just to echo all the rest, please donate if you can. If you can't, share this out. This is an absolutely vital, pivotal, and I do not hesitate to say historical moment in our history. So
Stefan is found at, I believe, Umbral_KnightX
yes,
on Twitter.
Yes, sir.
He was taken away by our message and our need to support the charity and forgot to tell you where to find him.
Yes.
Mr. McCallister, also known as the Eye.
I am the Eye, the one that plays Jacob McCallister and Kunskapsulker on DTA. I echo my friends, companions, brothers, sisters, comrades. Give all you can. We need this money to help those that need to have their own autonomy and be able to make the decisions that are best for them. And that's something that's very important. And if you don't think so, well, you're not my kind of folk.
And you've probably been watching the wrong actual play.
Yeah.
I am Jack Kellum, Jack Gogsbane, Jack the Giant Killer of Gods and Game Masters. And the only thing important I have to tell you is my friends are right. This is an important cause. Give. You don't give to us, give to the cause directly. Give to any of the abortion providers or agencies in your area. That's what's important. I can shoot my own horn later. Lion, if you take it away.
This has been an absolutely fantastic episode, much like the ones before, and I can't wait to see how it all concludes next week. Definitely please come back, join us for that. Before then, we're going to have a couple of other really exciting games airing as well. We've got just a normal human airing tomorrow night. That's going to be a lot of fun. Game from Thought Police, where we play a horde of something to be determined later, pretending to be a people. So that's going to be really fun. I'm excited for that. Then we'll be back on Wednesday with Riga Tomb of Sorrows. After that, we'll be wrapping up. Nope, we're going to be doing episode 3 of Avatar Legends, The Breaking Point. And then on Friday, we'll be ending our week with part 2 of a very special 2-part event, Veil of the Void, the Dead Planet. And then we'll see you back here for our final episode of Terror at Bone Gulch. Remember, watch, share, donate, tell people this is why we're here. Every single dollar you donate, 100, 200, $1, 50 cents, doesn't matter. Every single cent of it is going to go to help people who need it. People who right now are having their bodily autonomy taken away from them. And it is awful. And so we're doing everything we can to help with that. And you can too. Remember, if you don't have the ability to donate, that's okay too. That's fine. It happens. Share, tell your friends about it. Have them tell their friends. The more people hear about it, the more chances there are for people to donate. It's so important that we support people right now while this is happening and not let this go unchecked. Really quick, I want to say thank you so much to my amazing cast. Thank you to everyone who's donated so far. Special thank you to our fantastic GM and to just everyone who's been a part of any of these events up until this point. We'll be back tomorrow. And until then, take care and donate.